Hi guys, welcome! In this series, we'll take a look at the 4th job classes coming in Ragnarok Eternal Love. For our 3rd episode, we'll be focusing on the 4th job of the Swordsman Class tree. For Rune Knights, they can change into Rune Master, while for Royal Guards, they can change into Divine Avenger. This information is based on the data mined from the recent patch in the closed beta test of the China server. Again, these are not yet official and expect that there will be some changes once released in the open beta server. Special thanks to Kermisi, Yub, and their team for their hard work in rendering the models and translating the skills. Their pages are linked in the description box down below. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First up, we have the Rune Master, which is the 4th job of Rune Knight. It is said that the Thanatos like to wander in the dreams of Rune Knights and told them to hand their blood and part of their soul to the dwarves so that they can cast it into a magic sword. They turn their dreams into reality and embrace the darkness flowing from the magic sword. As for their skills, we have the following. First up, we have Wiccaning of Death. This is an active buff skill that increases your physical penetration by 20% and max HP by 30% at max skill level. It also changes your race into demon for 30 seconds. When in Death Awakening state, your damage to demi-human race can increase by up to 15% with this enhancement skill. I think this is one of the highlights of the Rune Master's new skills, as they are the only class that can change race. Players from other classes should be aware of this so that they can invest in demon damage reduction. Aside from changing into demon race, Rune Masters also get 3 new skills which are of dark element. This is really in line with the story that they have swallowed darkness and gained its power. First, for the dark element skills is Abyss Falls, which is a large AoE skill that deals continuous dark element damage to all enemies every second and also reduces the enemy's physical and magic attack. Only one can exist which lasts for 20 seconds. In addition, this enhancement skill can give you up to plus 15% dark attack after using Abyss Falls. I guess you'll need to summon Abyss Falls first before using other dark element skills for higher damage. For the second dark element skill, we have Soul Spear, which is exclusive to spear type users. This is a single target offensive skill that causes dark element physical damage. Its damage to demi-human race is increased by 20% and another 30% when this enhancement skill is maxed out. It can also mark the enemy with 3 stacks of deepen damage, so the next spear skill will hurt more. It has a lot of demi-human damage modifiers, so I think this will be mainly used in PvP. And for the last dark element skill, we have Dark Flame Slash, which is like the upgraded version of Bash. After a short charging time, the selected target and all enemies within a 3-meter radius will receive dark element physical damage, which is based on the damage of Bash. The charging time can be decreased by up to 0.3 seconds with this enhancement skill. I think this is the mid-range AoE version of Bash that has been much anticipated. I'm also guessing that the stun effect of Bash will also be inherited by this skill. Up next, we have 3 passive skills that affect dark element attacks. First is Dark Fury, which will trigger when using normal attack or damaging skills wherein you'll get frenzy points, which last for 60 seconds and can be stacked up to 100 points. Every frenzy point will then increase your dark element attacks by up to 0.2% at max skill level. Thus, if you have the full 100 stacks of frenzy points, you can have a total of 20% increase in dark element damage. Do take note that Abyss Falls will not increase your frenzy points. But if you want more sources of frenzy points, you'll need to activate this enhancement skill which allows you to accumulate frenzy points when receiving damage. Another passive skill that affects dark element attack is Dark Horizon. This imbues your dark element skills with a chance to inflict darkness or blind status which cannot be dispelled and ignores immunity. It lasts for 8 seconds and has no effect on MVPs and minis. And lastly, we have the passive skill Dark Knight. This increases the damage of spear skills by up to 40% on enemies with darkness or blind status. This will greatly boost the damage of Soul Spear against players and normal monsters. Up next, we have 2 passive skills for auto-attacking. First is Dimensional Slash, which increases Rune Master's normal attack distance to up to 3 meters at max skill level. In addition, this enhancement skill gives Dimensional Slash a chance to root a target for 1 second. This new auto-attack mechanics will really strengthen the Agi-Crit build, not only in PvP but also in PvE. The other passive skill for auto-attack is Abyss Contract. This will add the Rune Master's remaining SP to the damage computation of normal attacks, but in return, each normal attack will also reduce their max SP. I think this will change the current Agi-Crit build to include more gears and cards that boost max SP. In addition, SP regen gears would also be important to sustain the boost in damage. Up next, we have the Magic Dragon Breath, which combines the power of Dragon Breath and Dragon's Water Breath, thus causing both fire and water physical damage. This new breath skill can deal up to 80% of Dragon Breath damage and 80% of Dragon's Water Breath damage to all enemies in a linear direction. And with this enhancement skill, Magic Dragon Breath has a chance to inflict the Burning, Frozen, and Fear status on enemies for 2 seconds. Another skill affecting Dragon Breath is Flame Guardian. This passive skill will grant up to 30% reduction in fire and water damage when a breath skill is used. This can also buff allies with the same amount of elemental damage reduction when a breath ability hits them. This effect lasts for 10 seconds. Furthermore, this enhancement skill can increase the fire and water element attack by up to 10%. I think they're really making breath skills more GVG oriented, as it can now inflict more abnormal statuses and can also buff allies. Up next, let's talk about Rune Master's defensive skills. First is Space-Time Tearing, which is a passive skill that will trigger when receiving damage. It will disrupt the attack of the enemy by reducing damage times a percent of your max SP. I guess Runites really need to pump up their max SP and invest on Int, in preparation for the next episode. Another unique skill is Death Bond. This causes a debuff on a single enemy within 10 meters, wherein a percentage of the HP you lose will be shared to the enemy. This lasts for 10 seconds and cannot be dispelled. It will be like taking an enemy to the grave with you, since if they hurt you, then they also inflict damage to themselves. And for the last and final skill, we have Suffocation, which drains your HP to 1 but gains immunity to all types of damage for 8 seconds at max skill level. It has a cooldown of 28 seconds which can be reduced. I think this can be used in combination with Frenzy, making Rune Masters invincible in the battlefield. This can also be coupled with Death Bond, since this enhancement skill will deal additional 40% damage to the target of Death Bond. Up next, we have the Divine Avenger, which is a 4th job of Royal Guard. It is said that the Royal Guards came to Valhalla and asked the Valkyrie for strength to protect everyone. With the power of Valhalla, their blood and flesh turned into the strongest shield, reincarnating them into Divine Avengers. As for their skills, we have the following. Let's start with the offensive skills. First up, we have Shield Press. This is a single target offensive skill which deals damage based on your physical attack and also knocks back the enemy. The enemy will then be unable to use auto attacks for up to 3 seconds. In addition, Shield Press can have 100% chance to inflict silence for 5 seconds when this enhancement skill is maxed out. Another new offensive skill is Shield of Judgement. It deals damage to an enemy and surrounding enemies by up to 2 meters based on the damage of Shield Boomerang. It has a 4-second cooldown which can be reset if the target is killed. Furthermore, its enhancement skill can increase the casting range by 3 meters. I guess this will be good for grinding monsters, as it has long range, deals AoE damage, and no cooldown when the monster is killed. Related to these two offensive skills is the passive skill Shield Wave. This increases the skill multiplier of Shield Press and Shield of Judgement by up to 50% for every refined level of the offhand equipment. Plus, if your shield has a plus 10 refinement, you'll gain 500% damage multiplier. Next, we have the Spear exclusive skill Light Cross. Upon activation, a circular area will form around you with you at the center. All enemies within a 3-meter range of the circle will receive damage based on your overbrand skill damage. It will also force the target to sit down for 1 second. Furthermore, its cooldown can be reduced by 25% if this enhancement skill is maxed out. That means its cooldown can be decreased from 6 to 4.5 seconds. I think this is a buff version of the Overbrand skill, which now has higher damage and larger AoE. The new sitting mechanic is also interesting. Related to Light Cross is a passive skill, Spear of Punishment. This triggers after an interval of 18 seconds wherein the next Overbrand or Light Cross casted will deal higher damage. And with this enhancement skill, the damage will be further increased by 30%, giving a total of 160% at max skill level. Next, we have Reflect Aura. Upon activation, each time you receive damage, you will automatically deal physical damage to enemies around you for up to 3 meters. This damage is based on your remaining HP and is not affected by race, element, and size modifiers. The aura drains 1% of your SP every second and will last for 15 seconds. I think this will be very useful for pure tank builds. Next, we have Divine Protection, which requires a shield type offhand. You can unite with up to 5 teammates within a range of 5 meters around you, and then share 100% of your healing bonus and HP regen stats to the linked allies. This will last for 30 seconds and will lose effect if the teammates leave the area. In addition, this enhancement skill can increase your healing bonus by up to 32% after using Divine Protection. Next, we have 2 skills which can only be used when Divine Protection is active. First is the offensive skill Twilight, which can only be used when united with at least 2 teammates. Upon activation, it will summon an AoE skill that deals continuous holy physical damage per second on enemies within a 5-meter radius. The damage multiplier is 2400% of your physical attack, and it deals damage to enemies for a maximum of 3 times only. Furthermore, there are 2 skills which can enhance the effect of Twilight. The first one inflicts up to 50% reduction in movement speed for 6 seconds, whereas the second enhancement skill increases the skill multiplier by the number of united teammates times 490%. So if 5 teammates are united with you, a total of 2450% skill multiplier will be added to the damage computation. The other one is Light Barrier, which can only be used when united with at least 2 teammates. This summons a protective barrier that buffs other non-Crusader allies within 5 meters. During the 15-second skill duration, your non-Crusader class allies will get skill damage reduction, which can increase depending on the number of allies united with you. At max skill level, having 5 teammates united with you can give up to 40% skill damage reduction. I guess with these new team-oriented skills, Divine Avengers will be more in demand in 6 vs 6 PvP and GVG competition. Up next, we have the additional buff skills of Divine Avengers. First is Shield of Liberty, which buffs you and your allies within a 5-meter radius, removing and granting immunity to the following abnormal statuses: Snare, Stone, Freeze, Stun, and Immobilize. The effect lasts for up to 9 seconds at max skill level. Another buff skill is Shield of Strength. This transfers up to 50% of your own strength to a party member for 30 seconds. This will be useful when you have melee classes in your party. Next, we have Shield of Life. This increases the max HP of a party member based on a percentage of your max HP and total VIT. This buff lasts for 30 seconds and cannot be used on the Crusader class. In addition, this enhancement skill can increase VIT by up to 40 points, increasing the effects of Shield of Life. And for the last and final skill, we have Guardian of Glory. This passive will trigger each time you successfully block an attack under Autoguard status, wherein there is a chance to automatically generate Sacred Ground on your feet. This Sacred Ground will restore you and your allies' HP for every second. The healing amount is based on your int and magic attack and is also affected by healing bonus. Only 1 Sacred Ground can increase and it lasts for 5 seconds. Furthermore, this enhancement skill grants dark damage reduction for teammates by up to 40%. This will definitely be useful against the dark element skills of Rune Master. Alright, so far we've touched on how the Rune Master and Divine Avenger would look like and what their respective skills would be. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on these new 4th drop skills. The skills are also found in ROM Codec's website, so check it out. Also stay tuned for my next video wherein we'll discuss the skills of the 4th job of Acolyte Class tree, Saint and Dragon Fist. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love for you to consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.